That is right, guys. That is how you start Dupe by the River. Welcome on in, everyone. This is Dupe by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Guys, so we don't have El Parcero Phillies MacBook today, so we're winging it today, but we are going to get through it. We got a jam-packed episode, cover a lot of Philadelphia Union stuff today, so don't you dare go anywhere. Let me introduce you guys, my beautiful co-host today. Let's start off with my man, Justin, Chief Balding Officer Freiberg. Justin, what's going on today, my man? How you feeling?
You know, it's I'm ready to get a nice review of what was a wild DC game, and it wasn't mostly off the field. And I'm interested to take a little trip down south to everyone's most interesting state.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm ready to go. I'm right with you. I got the same mentality to get right into this podcast. We're down in Florida, two teams. We're not sure how we feel about right now, right? But I'm excited to get to it. Of course, we are also joined by my man, Tim Lovingooth with the absolute drip. And Tim, what I have to ask, how you feeling after this morning, my man?
Oof. I mean, if you're going to lose, I guess if you're the women's team, you lose to Sweden. So that's usually what happens every 40 to 50 games now. That's when they lose. So hey, now they'll go on a run and they'll win gold. It's fine. Everything's good.
You can't always just win, guys. For all the U.S. women's team fans, you guys can't always have this easy road. You got to go through some obstacles, and this is one loss. Was it 44 matches? Was that what it is?
Yeah.
Listen,
lost 44.
Enjoy the loss, right? Enjoy.
It's actually going to build the team up. That's my opinion. If they don't get built up from that, I don't know. They're not going to do anything here. So we'll see.
And there you go, Heather, with the great comment there. She's jealous of that kit. We all are. For me, I don't know how I feel about that kit, even though it's beautiful.
Yeah,
you know, memory pops up in my mind, man.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a replica for anyone who's wondering. So I didn't spend all that money. It's fake, but it looks good.
We're on Dupe by the River budget, not MLS overtime budget, guys. Remember that. And of course, last but not least, speaking of drip, we got my man Zachary Lobasso. Zach, I love the kit. How you doing, man? It's good seeing you.
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So, guys, Zach has been getting in the video game. How's that been going so far?
I mean, a little hiccup this morning. I recorded it, and it saved as a document instead of MP4, so I got to re-record it. But keep your eyes out for it, because there's going to be some guys on the list of forwards the Union should sign that are very interesting. So, yeah, should be good.
Hey, man, that's the game. That is the game of the video production game, right? Like, you're going to have your bumps and bruises, of course. Today we're winging it with the podcast here on the laptop and, of course, the phone. So that is the nature of the business. But, guys, we got a lot to get to today. Before we move forward, guys, do not forget to like the live and, of course, subscribe to the Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. We'll be putting on some content at the end of the week there, not just Philadelphia Union stuff, but some other stuff as well. Of course, all the video portions, the live portions go on there. And, of course, do not forget to subscribe to Dupe by the River wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. Of course, we are also part of PSN Radio. We are also part of the Philly Sports Network broadcasting group there. Of course, guys, to start off today, we actually had some transfer rumors with our Philadelphia Union. Apparently, coming out of Brazil, Ernst Tanner got busy, and he threw a little bit of a bid to legendary club, big club, prestigious club, Palmeiras down in Brazil, a $2.5 million bid for Juan Gabriel Silva, a 19-year-old striker forward who's got a lot of potential. First year with the first team for Palmeiras. It's obviously got a lot of Union fans going. Obviously, a lot of the Union fan base love those Brazilian players and want to see them here. When you see a $2.5 million bid, you're thinking this guy's going to come here and put up some freaking stats. But, guys, really, for me, what it's about is not just this kid that could potentially come here and be big, but once upon a time, this Ernst Tanner got a Roberto Firmino from Brazil as well. And for a lot of Union fans, they're hoping that he can hit goal again with another Brazilian striker. I'm going to start it off here with my man, Zach. Zach, what do you make of this rumor?
So after looking into the kid and all that stuff, I'm not too disappointed that they turned down the transfer request. Because ultimately what I'm looking for in a forward that the Union are going to sign is someone who has and knows how to score a lot of goals. And through my research, it doesn't seem as though Gabriel Silva has scored many goals in his career. And as a forward, that's not really what you want. Like, from what I can tell, over 3 years, he scored two goals and has 1 assist. But that could just be club. I don't know how he does for the national team and if they have youth numbers and stuff. But first team stuff, he hasn't scored many goals. I think he's played like 30 some odd games for the clubs he's been at. And he hasn't scored a lot. And like I said, what I want from a forward is someone who has scored, who knows how to score a lot of goals in big moments. Maybe is Greek. Maybe is Greek. We don't know. Who knows? But the Union buying young guys. But for $2.5 million, I would rather have a guy who's proven at the craft of putting the ball in the back of the net.
You do bring up some good points. It's a little bit of an unknown there, but if something we've learned under this Ernst regime here, I mean, this guy he's got more hits than misses in the transfer market, but definitely something to keep an eye out there, Zach. Tim, anything you wanted to add there as far as this rumor?
Yeah, I mean, I think Zach kind of hit it on the head. It's not like if this was a signing that the Union were going to complete, that this player would come in and warrant starting time right away. It seems like Ernst and Jim, because Jim even talked about it in his press conference this week, he trusts the squad that he has, and anyone else that comes in is an added bonus right now. So if they were going after a younger striker, most likely be for depth reasons. Right now we're seeing, Sergio Santos and Kasper Shabilko being the 2 strikers, while Corey Burke is out with Jamaica, in the quarterfinals of the Gold Cup now, going up against the USA here. So that'll be but yeah, there's not many strikers on the Union's roster right now. So I think that's sort of what they were looking into with the green card situation getting figured out with Kasper Spielko and Kai Wagner. They could go and look at, a promising younger international player, which I guess is sort of the route they're looking for right now, as we've seen the other transfer rumors come in too. So.
Yeah. So to that point, Tim, that end right there, that's a really good point. Justin, do you think this team does need to make a move for a striker like that? I mean, we do have Corey, like Tim mentioned. We do have Sergio, who, I mean, we'll talk about a little bit. My man's a little bit on fire. And then Kasper is, you've been ringing on his bell a little bit. He's the leading goal scorer in CONCACAF Champions League. Does this team need to make this type of move?
I'd be I think lying if I said no. And I think it's mainly because of depth. I mean, you look at it, really, you only really have 3 strikers. You have a ton of young players who can fill in and guys that can fill into that spot. But, I mean, this was a start in the right direction. Now, according to the article on Brotherly Game, they did update it to say that the Union actually were the ones that ended negotiations, that it looks like Palmeiras was ready to accept the $2.5 million offer. And doing a little digging into the player, I think I'm curious if some of those stats were maybe from the youth ranks, because it looks like he joined the senior team fairly recently. So I am curious if he really was, like, maybe he got time in various games and maybe that's why the stats are a little fuzzy on him. But the fact that the fact that a $2.5 million offer was even considered, you got to think, I mean, in the last couple of years, think about the signings that have been done. Jamiro Montero, close to $2 million. Daniel Gazdag, around, what was that, $1.82 million? I mean, right there, that's over almost $3.7 million in 2 signings alone. You're starting to see the Union push the envelope. Now, are these signings people have heard of? Not usually. But again, given Ernst's track record, I like it. And Yeah, out of the positions that the Union need most, midfield is not needed. Midfield is absolutely one of the positions you have locked down. I mean, Jim has said it himself. You have such a massive logjam. It's honestly a blessing to have that many players vying for that many spots. Now, now you could say, okay, maybe do you need a back, a fourth center back? Yeah, there's a possibility. Do you need an outside back? Do you trust Matt Real to be that outside back? I haven't seen enough this season. It feels like Jim trusts him more as an attacker than necessarily a defender. I am curious. I mean, on the right side, you have Olivier and Alves, so I'm not too concerned about the right side. So really, striker is the one position. If you're going to add a player, striker's his position. And while like I said, I love Casper. Casper has been right now one of your more consistent scorers. Sergio is good in spurts. I think that's one of his biggest issues. Corey has shown that he can be a starter, and I think warrants a discussion. That's where the conversation ends. And I think having 4 forwards is, if you're playing in that kind of a 4-4-2 system, you need 2 deep at both strikers because you need 2 different play styles, and it's clear that like when you have Corey and Casper, you're playing this. They're basically identical strikers, and now Casper, Corey's a little faster than Casper, but not nearly as fast as Sergio. And Sergio's your burner, but Sergio can't play usually a full 90 minutes, and that's the consideration. I think Jim, and while yes, I agree with him that the roster that they have is very good, and I think if Gazdag can get clicking, and I think this midfield can really get going, this will be a dangerous team. You really do need another clinical striker. And I think you can get that in around the $2 million range, which is right now it's clear that the Union are going for that. And I think it shows that Ernst, think about it. They've been starting to recruit more in South America, which for the Union has really not been an area they've focused on. And you look at this league and you look at the players that have come through South America that have really made, major impacts. Just look at Miguel Almiron is one of the prime examples of taking a player that might not be well known, give him a couple years, and boom, you're flipping him. Now, maybe not to Newcastle for that kind of money, but it definitely is showing that South American players are looking at the MLS and going, I want to go to Europe, and I think the best way is through this league because sometimes when players go directly, it doesn't always work out. And I think giving them a stepping stone, giving them that idea to say, okay, I see that the path is there, I can do this, is exactly what the Union need. That's the Union are that type of team and say, hey, you come here, look at our track record. We can flip. You can get to Europe through us. And I think give a guy 2-3 years, a young guy that's hungry, that's willing to prove himself. I think it's worth it. So, yeah, I do think striker is a position that's needed, and I think Ernst is definitely on the right path.
You really made some good points here. For me, I feel like this fan base has made it known that they feel like it's a need. We need another striker. I don't have those same sentiments. Of course it'd be nice. It's like having an extra toy in the toy box. Of course it'd be nice to have an extra striker, right? But I don't feel like it's a need like some fans are stating here. And to your point, I agree, man. Like, why not hit up that South American market? Those guys can come here for a cheaper price than going over to get those kids from Europe. And their upside is exponential. You're seeing it around the league, like you just mentioned as well. I mean, just how many times have I told you, like, I wish the Union would get over like that fear, whatever it is, Colombia, because dude, I see what's going on in Colombia over the past couple years. There's kids there that can play here and play really freaking well. But because, the Union got bit by Carlos Valdez and America de Cali, like, I just feel like they don't want to go back down there. But yeah, just definitely hit up that South American market. And when we're talking about this price range, you can absolutely add up with a good player there. Good stuff there. We'll see what happens. Of course, we'll keep you locked. Of course, Tim, Zach, and now Steve have been killing it with the writing. So, guys, keep an eye on Philly Sports Network. We'll keep you posted with any news that comes up with transfer news here. But, of course, guys, we did play a match this past Saturday. We were back at home. Felt like it's been a long time since we were back at home. But the Philadelphia Union, in front of, I believe it was 16,000. 16,000?
It was a pretty good crowd.
It was a great crowd.
Yeah.
It was a great crowd, absolutely. The Philadelphia Union against another division rival. We just got them playing the Red Bull. Then you got to play against DC United at home, get a big 2-1 win. And I will tell you what, I was not feeling confident after the first couple of minutes. DC, they showed what they've been doing over the past couple of games. They started fast. They had a couple of good opportunities. But the Philadelphia Union with their composure, great building from the back. Ali to Gazdag with a nice chip, and Sergio Santos putting it through the 5-hole, as I was saying to the Philly Sports guy. Big 1-0. Second half, game was very, very restless. So a lot of interesting calls, a lot of, hey, ref, you suck. That type of stuff was going down. A couple goals were taken away, but luckily we got the game sealer. Let me backtrack. We had a PK in was it the 60-something minute? It felt like the Red Bull game. And Assad put the PK away, and then that's when in the 86th minute, I believe, or the 85th minute, I believe it was, Sergio Casper leading the transition. Sergio to Casper. Casper making Wilhelmine look bad, and the Union get the 2-1 lead. And then the game stops. Quinn Sullivan comes in. I'm all excited. We get to see Quinn. Hopefully we get another bicycle kick. And then the game stops with 4 minutes left. And of course, we had our whole rain delay, the whole thunderstorm in the area. And of course, we were chilling. Most of us were chilling down in the in where you could say dry. Honestly, I was in the middle of Keystone State Ultras and Sons of Ben, just chanting, screaming, and partying like it was the Supporter Shield win, and it was a dandy old time here. We'll start off with Justin on this one, man. That Sergio goal, it was beautiful by Sergio. And Sergio has been hot, but we're not talking enough about Gazdak with that assist. It was just a tap, Justin. But I've never seen anyone do that in Union history. I'm not even kidding you. What was your thoughts on that goal? I want to hear from you.
So yeah, I think when it comes to that goal, that little touch does not get looked at with as much appreciation as it should, because if Gazdag does not flick that, Andy Nahar is cutting that. Like, that's been cut out. That's cut out right away. Like, it, you have Olivier throws it up to Ali. Ali looks up, sees the run, and then plays a great pass. And it was just enough within Gazdag's reach. He was making them run, and he looked over his shoulder. You had Casper to the right, and you had Sergio to the left, and Sergio was in acres of space, and all he did was just flick it. He knew Sergio was running on there. All he did, that was a simple flick, puts it perfectly into the path. Sergio takes a couple touches, puts it right through Bill's legs, and that's right there. It just goes to show, Gazdag was in the right place at the right time to make the play. And I was looking on MLSsoccer.com. They had their power rankings, and the Union were ranked 4th. And what it said was, it talked about the goal. And it just said, if Gazdag can start really get going with this offense, watch out, Eastern Conference. Like, this team could be dangerous. And I think you're starting to see flashes of what Gazdag can bring. And honestly, it kind of makes me excited to see what he could do given a little more time.
Yes, for right now in these couple games, I've seen that he's able to create for others, which just got me so excited. But once he learns how to get those goals on his own, it's a whole new ballgame. Tim, I got a question for you. I want to save, so I'm going to move to Zach real quick. Zach, the referee, man, it's a little questionable. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little questionable at times, man. What did you take away from some of these calls, and especially in that second half?
I'm glad you asked me about this because that I was home watching the game. Okay, so I got the replay of the Leon Flock foul about 4 times, and that was as stone cold a penalty as you could have ever asked for in your life. Flock gets to the ball first. Guy sticks his leg out. I don't care if he touches his pinky toe. It's a foul. 100% foul. And the best part was Flock got up right away. Like, he wasn't trying to sell anything as if he didn't get fouled. Like, he was like, I'm going to play on. The ref did not call it. And it was crazy to me because I saw it. And as soon as he went down, I was like, that's a penalty kick. Like, immediately. And then I saw the replay. I was like, yeah, they're going to reverse it. Like, they have to. And then he went over to VAR and he didn't reverse it. And I was like, are we watching 2 different things here? And apparently what the broadcast team said was like he was watching a different replay than what we were watching at home. And I found that very odd because the one that I saw, to me at least, I don't know if you guys have seen the replay or what you think, but to me, I was like, yeah, it's a penalty kick, like 100%.
Yeah, it based on the replays that they showed around the board, it was very close. It didn't feel like there was enough to overturn it, even from the front angle. It looks like at the very least he gets some contact on his foot, and MLS, instant replay was like, well, it's not clear. Well, he doesn't get the ball, and I'm like, right there, he doesn't get the ball, regardless of what else happens. There was contact. Like, that's a foul. Like, regardless, I don't care. There's a card. It's a foul.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Totally agree.
That was definitely rough there. Tim, so what I wanted to ask you, so this match started around 7:30 on Saturday night. And if I'm not mistaken, you put out the last tweet on the DOOP by the River account at 11:30. Is this the longest uni match you've ever been a part of? And give me the timeline of the from the minute they stopped game till to the return.
Sure. To that first question, I don't know if this is the longest game I've ever been to. There's been some Open Cup games that have been ridiculously crazy. I don't know if anyone is remembering the Dust Bowl games, but when the practice fields used to be Lot B and they were dust, like they were dirt lots, and a storm would pick up the dirt and literally blow it into the stadium. And they would have to start calling games off because it would get in the players' eyes. It would get in people's eyes in the stands. It was awful. But that happened in a few Open Cup games. There were some thunderstorms. So I don't know if it was the longest delay I've ever been a part of, but I'll say it was the wildest delay. It was crazy. I know Justin was with me. We were just kind of chilling right under the Keystone State Ultras section. The little gate was open there. So we just kind of plopped ourselves in there and chilled out. And we had a party. Like the Keystone State Ultras at Sons of Ben came together, had a party. The Supporter Shield made it down there. We were doing trophy lifts, chanting the whole time, getting everyone riled up. I'm sure the players could hear it because I know the press room was right behind where everyone was chanting, and right next to that is the locker room. So I'm sure players are hearing some of it out there and getting fired up as well to go play that last 5 minutes, which was awful soccer. The field actually held up pretty well, but I mean the players were an hour and a half, 2 hour delay. Didn't look great, but yeah, no, it was a crazy time. Lightning, thunder everywhere. People trying to run to their cars, get into their cars, but then getting flooded out, trying to go home.
Oh my God!
It was a time for sure. And then it was 10 degrees cooler, and there was no weather in sight at 11:30 when the game ended.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And it's it's crazy. So I'm leaving, right? I'm leaving Super Park, and there's this fan comes up to me right before I leave the gate. He's like, "Come here, man." Gives me this big old hug. He's like, "I don't know you, man, but I'm so excited." I felt like you're at your favorite concert when you're growing up. You got like random people hugging you, and you're like just partying with random people. It was absolutely special night. It was great. Guys, whoever wants to jump in, you add anything else that you took away from this match on Saturday night?
I'll say one more thing about Daniel Gazdag real quick. I know we talked about his, the importance that he had on that first goal with that perfect touch that he had there to spring Sergio. But on the second goal, he's actually the reason the Union got that counterattack. He was still in there in the 84th, 85th minute, and he was the one that stopped the DC attack to get the ball to Leon Flock, who then hit the outlet pass to Sergio. So his impact has been twofold now since he's joined the Union. He's shown that he can really be a box-to-box midfielder and also a really, really good number 10. And I believe that was his first 90 minutes for the Union. So he's getting into that full fitness. And we're gonna need to see what he can do for most of these games coming forward, because there's a lot of them here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I think to add on Tim for Kasper's goal, I know Tim and I both like collectively are like hearts jumped into our stomachs when we saw Sergio cut that back. We all just screamed, "No!"
Yeah,
we were like, "Oh no!" Like.
Yeah, we wanted him to hit that first time pass with his right foot, and he will never hit that first time pass with his right foot.
And then like as Casper, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And like Bill gets a hand on him, he gets a hand on it, and I'm like, I was like, oh my god, I'm easy to keep this out, and like Casper's gonna be looking to the sky, and yeah, it was, man, that goal finally went in, like ironically right before like. They called and we're like, and they literally they called it right then, and we're like, what are you talking about? What lightning? And because like there have been like flashes kind of during the game, but they didn't stop anything. And then all of a sudden it like you heard it, and then it like immediately opened up, like it just came down, and like we're waiting. We actually like we stood there for a little bit. Kind of wait, and then we're like, okay, let's go down, and like you could feel something in the air, like it was weird with the way like you could feel like like a lightning strike, like you could feel it in the air. It was definitely a, not the pun, electric environment. But and then we get back, a lot of people had left, and it was it was Tim and I and my friend Eddie, who I have tickets with, and we moved like basically right over to like 1:30, like 7. And we're sitting right behind, and like it was a weird feeling because like not a lot of people were in the stadium. DC fans had been ushered out, which security, I will say, security kind of goofed. A lot of them told people that the game was over, but some security I talked to did know the league policies, and did know that they couldn't call it yet. So I will say that was a bit of a, like, it would have been interesting to see the DC fans if they had stayed. But no, overall, it was definitely one of the longer games that I've been to. But listen, I also, for the second straight week, I have a correct score prediction, which
there you go.
That streak's gonna end definitely tomorrow. I can already feel that. But no, overall a good game, and I definitely think it's going to be an interesting test. And oh my geez, did Johnny just drop?
Johnny just disappeared. Yeah.
Oh man.
What are we supposed to do?
I don't know.
What are we supposed to do?
I know, Zach, you had some thoughts here. I'm taking over hosting privileges until Johnny gets back. You had thoughts on this game.
Okay. So yeah, I think the thing that I was ultimately looking for with this game was performance over result, considering how poorly we've played the last 3 games prior to this one. And it was a lot more. It made me feel a lot better about the season going forward, because they definitely did bounce back from that poor 3-game skid that they went on, and Gazdag looked good. I look forward to seeing him more. I think that when we buy one of the strikers that's on my list, he'll get a lot of assists to that guy, whoever it is. And then also a testament to how left-footed players can be only left-footed. That Sergio Santos assist to Kasper Shabilko is the ultimate testament to that left-footed players do not need a right foot, because as he was dribbling down the line, I was like, he should shoot this. Like, just right now with his right foot, he should just shoot it. And then I was like, oh, he should pass it with his right foot. And then he didn't do either of those things, ended up touching it back, almost getting it taken from him, just getting the pass off to Casper, and Casper squeaking it in. But I was like you guys, I was stressing the entire time that play was going on, because I was like, God, there were just so many things wrong with that. And just because he's a lefty, he's allowed to get away with stuff like that. And so that was funny. But so that's my take on the game. It was entertaining, so that's always good.
Yes. Of course, we got the entertainment factor there. And most importantly, guys, of course, we had the 3-game winless streak. Of course, this gets us 3 points now. And we can feel good. We can kind of build off of this, DC, although it's not DC that we all remember. It's a team that's kind of trending upwards. It's a young team that came out with energy, and then we kind of saw that. And they definitely made it an interesting match. But, guys, this week is really important, right, because we have to go down to Florida. And, it's been really chippy with both Florida clubs down there. And with the way the standings are looking in the Eastern Conference, man, it is tight as can be. So today, guys, of course, we're going to do the 2-for-1. We're going to preview both Orlando and Miami in this episode today. So we're going to start off with previewing Orlando. And, of course, as always, guys, trying to get you guys the best possible coverage for the Orlando match. So without further ado, making his debut, we have an honorary Orlando City fan, Freddy Alacron. Freddy, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, guys. How you guys doing?
We're blessed here, man. We're feeling good after the DC match. We're ready for you guys, and we're excited to have you on, Freddy.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm happy to be here. Let's break it down.
Let's do it, Freddie. I was a little skeptical, Freddie, because as we know, I'm the resident Colombian here in Philadelphia. When I saw we had a Ecuadoriano here, I was like, no, I'm just kidding.
My son.
I still feel that 6-1 beating you guys gave us a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's all in the past now. Let's look forward to our future, huh?
Freddie, so with me, I'm always curious about asking fans kind of how they got into the MLS and their club that they follow, because, Freddie, this is a new club. This is kind of a newer league compared to the other big leagues here in America. So for you, Freddie, how did this love for Orlando start?
Really, originally I'm actually from New Jersey.
Hey,
I moved down here in 2003, I believe. Literally, my folks said, "Pack up your crap. We're going down to Florida. I'm tired of these winters." And I'm like, "Cool." I was right out of middle school, so I'm like, "I'll start a new school anyway. I'm not gonna be with any of my friends. Let's just go, I guess." So we moved down, and that's that era has actually been very empty in my soccer verse, really. Once I got down here, I was like, man, there's a lot of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans here. It's baseball everything. It's baseball everything. So that's what dominates. Full disclosure, I am not a fan of baseball. I'm not dissing anyone that does, but I was not a fan. Okay. So I was kind of basically sportless because I couldn't relate to anybody, right? So as I got older and I decided to stick around, in my personal life, I met with people that tend to love the beautiful game, and we got going from there. And then all of a sudden, I heard there was a team that was moving from Austin to Orlando, ironically, in the USL Pro at the time. They were making some noise. It was I forget what year it was. It's escaping me now, but I think 10 years ago. And I was kind of interested. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll keep tabs. And then I finally got to go to a game, and then I was hooked. Of course, it was the game I got to go to was the final for the championship. I forget who it was. Was it against Charlotte? I believe it was against Charlotte. It was a very, very, very drunk night. So it kind of escapes me. But I remember that was a good time. And then a year after that, the following season, that's when we joined the MLS in 2015. So that's how I got into Orlando City specifically.
And you stuck with them through some of these heartbreaks and these rough years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's rough, and especially when you have a team at the time that seemed a little sexier, opening up or starting up down the road. The temptation was there to flip. Luckily, I didn't. That's a dumpster fire. My apologies to your next guest. I mean, I don't know if you guys are looking at the scores at all, but
we were watching that game, Friday. Trust me. I switched to Atlanta, Cincinnati. That's how much I did not want to watch that dumpster fire.
I mean, at least that has a chance to be a little bit interesting. I mean, that's just more dumpster fire, though. It's one thing when it's one dumpster fire versus another. It's different when your dumpster fire is taking on the top of the East. So,
that's pretty funny. Freddie, what I want to know from you, man. So obviously, last year, it's funny because a lot of people felt like we were going to both meet in the MLS's back finals there, right? Because Orlando and Philly, for the most part, looked like the two better teams for most of the tournament. Obviously, it didn't happen that way, at least for us, right? But we never really got to see you after that. Like all four of us were looking forward to play Orlando. We never got that chance to play against you guys. So this year, you guys have still found a way to kind of stay in the top half of the Eastern Conference tables here. Well, what's this team like this year? What can you tell us the difference between 2020 to 2021?
So at the beginning of the season, it seemed like it was just a continuation of the 2020 season, outside of course being eliminated from the playoffs by New England. The momentum was it's still there. Like it just felt the same. Like it just felt like we're continuing where we left off, very much like like Back to the Future Part 2 starts off where Back to the Future left off. So it was really good, and as you said, we managed to stay pretty close to the top of the Eastern Conference. But historically, July has not been a very good month for Orlando, historically speaking. It's when things really start going awry. Outside of last year with an asterisk, that was during the MLS's back tournament.
Everything was weird that year.
Yeah, but I mean that's the only difference really. It wasn't during the regular season play, so I guess that was the exception last year. But generally speaking, this is when the injuries start coming. This is where
the temperature rises.
It gets a lot hotter. Even if you live here, I tell Justin this all the time. Like we treat July and August just like you would treat January or February up north. Like you don't leave your house. You crank the thermostat the opposite way. You want it crisp 68 degrees in your house while it's 105. Although it's been a historically low temperature for the summers down here. Climate change. But yeah, July has not been very nice. It's starting to seem that way as well. We had Seba Mendez get at the 11th minute walk off the pitch in Toronto this past week. So it's basically on brand so far, and slowly dropping in the table is also on brand. That goes along hand in hand with what has happened to us every July up until now. So.
How has this attack been faring for you guys this year?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How has this attack been faring for you guys this season? How's it looked?
Yeah, the attack is okay. Obviously, the star up front is Daryl DK, right? It's so funny because it's still now. I know he's only played like 3 games since he's come back from Barnsley, but I was so agitated when we played him. I was like, this guy never needed to put on the shirt again, or the purple shirt again, because it's going to hurt his sale, potentially getting injured, or he underperforms in what some people would call a little bit more of inferior league than the championship. So I was like, this guy needs to not put on a shirt. And of course, he went on as a sub, didn't really do anything. Luckily, he didn't get hurt or anything. And then he showed up the following game. 3rd game, I believe he didn't actually do anything, and now he's on international duty. Hopefully that kind of
value's going up after this Gold Cup.
Yeah, I mean, we love the guy. If he came out and said, I don't want to go anywhere, I want to stay here, then he's more than welcome to stay. But I think we want that cash money.
Well, cash money's going to Europe.
Oh yeah. This has been an interesting news day for Orlando City. I'm not sure if you guys heard today the sale to the Will family has officially gone through. That's right. Flavio's no longer the owner of the club. So now the Will family released a statement that basically they are partnering or taking on the owners of the Orlando Magic as advisors. And if you guys know who the owners are, it's the DeVos family. Yes, the DeVos family. Amway, Betsy DeVos, like it's them. So we're all pretty mad. If you go onto OC Twitter, it's either fun to watch because everyone's melting down and getting all mad, which is I was one of them. I'm very furious about that announcement. Or you could join in and either heckle us or stand by us. So it's been an interesting day. And then of course within like the last 2 hours, the club released a statement regarding Chris Mueller that Chris Mueller has signed with another club with a pre-contract in supposedly Scotland. That's the word on the news. That's the word on the street. I mean, they just say Europe and all the official communication, but it sounds like it's somewhere in Scotland. Nowhere. There's no specific club being mentioned though. So there's a little bit of rumblings that's Aberdeen, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
From it, if y'all remember, he was with Atlanta for a little bit there. So that kind of makes sense that all the MLS moves, if Scotland, they go to Aberdeen.
I'm actually
but
shocked.
Hey, Freddie, at least you're not Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta's fun to watch.
I don't know. Atlanta's been having fun with us today too about the DeVos thing, but there are, I think they have bigger issues than
they have no room to talk.
Who's advising our ownership team? So
yeah, literally no room to talk right now.
So
yeah,
is this the same ownership group that owned the Minnesota Vikings? Was that what I heard?
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And there's some, of course, Minnesota United supporters that that I am kind of friendly with, who are of course Viking fans, and they're like, just be careful. That's what they say. Just be careful, buyer beware. Just be careful what they sell you. So.
Well, I don't know how you feel about the NFL, but it looks like you're a Vikings fan. Just kidding.
No, thank you.
All right, so Freddie, how do you see this team aligning against us tomorrow?
Like I said, historically, Orlando City has not been very good in July. I'm actually looking at the injuries right now. Obviously, Daryl DK is out on international duty. Antonio Carlos, one of our it's hard to say who our starting center backs are because 3 out of the 4 are definitely starters, starter quality. So there's a little bit of rotation going on there, but Antonio Carlos is one of them, and he's questionable for tomorrow. So I think we're just. I don't know what else Correa is going to do because he's kind of been unpredictable in the last 2 to 3 games. He seems to be either rotating when he probably shouldn't be rotating, and then not rotating when he probably should. So it's going to be really interesting to watch the next few games, especially with these injuries out that are on the list here that I'm seeing.
Yeah. What I wanted to was gonna mention that as well. I mean, for me, Oscar Pareja, I know very well. I mean, I admire what the guy does, even though he's obviously not my coach here in Philadelphia. But how important has he been for Orlando?
Yeah, it has brought new life to not just the club but the fan base. I mean, here's the thing: every sports team you can think of, especially here in the States, has fair weather fans, right? So like they're interested when it's all hype. They're there when it's the talk of the town, and then when they start underperforming, attendance starts to drop a little bit. They start trickling away. Those purple shirts tend to be hung in the back, or they become lawn mowing shirts, and stuff like that. So the fan base is slowly coming back. it's bound up. I mean, here no one wants to talk about it, but the stadium has not been packed. I know COVID aside. I mean, with COVID going on, I know that's a big factor, but even before then, it was. I went to opening day in 2020 against NYCFC, and I was expecting a sellout crowd because fans were sold on Oscar Pereira, but it wasn't sold out, and I was a little bit surprised. And I talked to a lot of my friends who used to go with me to these games, and of course, like I said, COVID has impacted so much of our lives that I kind of lose touch with people, and I've kind of run into a lot of them recently. And a lot of them don't even realize how well we're doing. They're like, "Oh wow, we're actually good," and I was like, "Oh yeah, we are." I don't know. I don't know. You're allowed to say we, since you're not aware that we are performing pretty well. But I think that's important to get fans that were kind of lukewarm back into the stands and being able to get out of their way to watch the team play.
Man, Freddie, I'll tell you, that's not only a battle that you guys have to deal with, but I will go to say most of MLS markets have to deal with it as well. I mean, here in Philadelphia, you lived up here in the Northeast. You know how crazy Philly sports fans are. And as crazy and as passionate as this Philly sports market is, we still have people here that just want to discredit the Philadelphia Union. And right now, I don't know how well in tune you are with Philly sports, but if you look at it as a whole landscape, the Union are probably the most successful club most successful team at this current moment in Philadelphia. It's a tough challenge. And I just honestly think it's just going to come with time, man. But you guys at least you guys are starting to put together quality soccer on the pitch, right? That's half the battle. So I think over time, Orlando will come through too, man.
Yeah, and this is really to sell fans to come back. This is kind of our last shot, like we just talked about. Chris Mueller's contract is up at the end of the year, and he's already found a new club to go to. Nani's is up, I believe, this year, and it sounds like he's going back to Portugal, so he won't be sticking around. He's expressed interest or desire to retire with Sporting. I believe it's his boyhood club. I could be wrong. He wants to go back and do that. And there's a couple other contracts that are kind of up, and loan deals are almost up. So, after this season, we're almost kind of rebuilding again. So it's going to be tough. But if anyone can rebuild a squad, it's going to be Oscar Pereira. So, and that front office. Luckily, our front office at the moment, as long as the Will family doesn't, decide to do what they want to do necessarily, that's against what's happening now. That front office should be able to take care of business. And even now though, we're as successful as we are right now without 3 DPs. We only have 2. We have an empty slot.
Holy crap! That's good business. So, you guys are winning.
It's impressive. Yeah, it's impressive. There's a little bit of question of, is Pato really not a DP? But we'll have to wait until the event.
Wait. Is Orlando pulling a Miami, Freddie?
No, because they haven't caught us yet.
That's good business. Now that's good business.
Where is Pato? Is he injured right now?
So Pato got injured in the first game of the season. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. It's really interesting because there was a lot of the players on their socials last week, and that when they arrived at Toronto, they almost made it seem like make it a point to have Pato in the photos. And so he traveled with the team. I don't believe he was on the game day roster. So what the point was to travel, I don't know, because they were there less than 24 hours, from what I understand. Because I'm not sure. You guys are probably aware about how the restrictive Canada has been with the sporting events and this and that. They knew less than 48 hours before kickoff that they need to go to Canada. So that kind of worked out. The entire squad made it, so it's nice to know
so the whole
that
squad's vaccinated.
Yes, that's exactly said. Unlike Cincinnati, is what it seems like.
I mean, something's not right about Cincinnati, Freddie.
I know exactly what's right, and his name is Jeff Cameron. A little too far right, if you will. Oh man, that boy is proud, if you know what I'm saying.
Awesome stuff, right? I want to throw it to my guys here. Let's get to the Union side of it. Zach, I'll get you in on this one, man. We're curious what you think the starting lines will look like tomorrow, man. We just got that Saturday. We got to play this Sunday, man. It's a crazy week. How do you think this will look like tomorrow?
Yeah, it is a crazy week. So I believe Jamiro's back after he's serving his suspension for yellow cards. I'm curious to see how the midfield lines up. I assume Gazdag will be at the top of the diamond, Bedoya on the right, but then does Jim go Flock Montero? Does he sub Montero in after a little bit because he was out for a game and he wants to get his legs back under him? Against Orlando, though, I feel like you got to go all out. You guys know my thoughts. I think Flock should be at the 6. Montero should be at that left center mid spot. And then you have to play Casper and Sergio up top at this point because unless you're playing Quinn, but I don't know if Jim's ready to do that yet, or if it's really needed. So I would say the back line's going to stay the same, although Glesnes has been scaring me a little bit every once in a while with those very, very risky passes he's been trying to make. That outside the foot pass he tried to do the other day that went right to DC's forward. I was like, what, dude, what's going on? But yeah, the back line should be the same. I think the midfield will be it'll probably be Montero and El Brujo, but I would like to see Flock at the 6. Unless Montero doesn't start, like I said. So we'll see. But that's basically the lineup that I'm thinking will be out for this weekend. Or not this weekend, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It feels weird. I know it does.
Yeah,
feel weird. Yeah. Tim, do you agree with that? You think that's going to be the
partially? I mean, I think there's no way Jim is going to take out El Brujo right now. He's in the last 2 games, he's won almost every duel that he's been in. I know he hasn't always, looked good after that, or he'll kind of be challenges, to say, the least there. But Jim is going to start him until he gets another red card. Like I think that's how it's going to go for him, unless he really is going to rotate in these 2 games. I see El Brujo being there. And also, I think the only really other question mark was who's going to be in goal. And I think he's going to roll with Joe Bendick, which scares me. But he showed well, against DC, and it's, going up against one of his former clubs. I know he's played for a lot of clubs in MLS, but Orlando is one of his former clubs. We know because, Bendick faced him against them there. Ricky Darnetta, throwback. But yeah, I think the rest of the lineup kind of, sorts itself out. I think Jamiro will be back in on that left side, and Flock will go to the bench. And Jim kind of talked about it. He has 5 midfielders for 4 spots right now. And I think Flock is the odd man out at the moment until El Brujo does something reckless. And I think it's dumb that it has to come to that, because I do think Flock is the better player at the 6. But El Brujo has just been Curtin's guy over the last 2 years. So I think that's who he's going to stick with. And then up top, you have to start Gazdag at the 10, Santos, and Shabilko. Those 3, if they can get it clicking, like Justin mentioned earlier at the MLS Power Rankings, like if they can get it going, it's going to be dangerous. So I think they stay in.
Yeah, and El Brujo doing something dumb is a when, not an if, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I know.
Did you guys happen to see after the yellow card was given to El Brujo, he almost like ripped his shirt. I thought
he was going to fight I thought he was about to fight everyone, everybody.
He's wild. He's absolute wild. AK Gaming, I can't show the comment because it will slow my laptop down here, but we are on Philly Sports Network, and we're going to try to do that going forward. We are the Union podcast for Philly Sports Network, so we're going to try to put that up on the PSN one, the PSN channel. But for right now, I don't. It's kind of the comments are kind of slowing down the laptop, so I want to make sure we can keep everyone here. We can get through this podcast. But AK Gaming, as always, man, all of us here, we appreciate you always tuning in and checking us out here. All right, guys, let's get to the nitty gritty of it. It is prediction time. And of course, as always, we are gentlemen here. We will allow Freddy, the Orlando fan, to start off here. Freddy, what do you think is going to happen in this match tomorrow night? And give me your final score.
I think the tired legs of Orlando City are going to catch up to them. I do not predict an Orlando City win. But I also don't predict a win for the Union because this is a home game and we've been doing pretty well at home. So I'm going to say 2-2 draw. Let's entertain some people.
Let's get the people going here. I like it. All right, Justin, give it to us, man. How you see this game going?
I think of the 2 games in the 4-day stretch, I think this is the tougher one. And typically on the road, the Union tend to be a little more conservative. Usually, I'm not feeling. I've been right the last few times, so I want to use my prediction powers for good. My heart says a 1-0 Union win, but my brain really says a 1-1 draw. And I think I'm going to go with that. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think you're going to have an eye on Sunday, because I think that's definitely the way more winnable of the two. And I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think the lineup, I mean, you probably I think Tim's right. You probably flip out Leon for Jamiro and maybe bring Leon off the bench, or maybe you play Leon on Sunday. But yeah, I think 1-1 draw feels realistic, and honestly, a point out of Orlando, where we've historically kind of had mixed results, is not a bad thing.
Never is. It never is. Do you guys remember last time we were in Orlando? It was Jamiro's first year, and I forget who it was. It's absolutely dirty slide tackle on Jamiro. It was one of those moments where I got out of my seat there, but one of those memories I had from this Orlando Philly matchup. Zach, what do you see happening tomorrow, man?
All right, so I think the Union are going to play extremely well. They're going to build off what they did, but I think the win of El Brujo doing something stupid is going to happen in the first half against Orlando tomorrow. He's going to get a first half red card, and I think Joe Bendick is going to cost us a little bit, and we're going to lose 2-1 despite playing extremely well. And I think the performance against Orlando, going to Orlando, is more important than the result we get against Orlando tomorrow. Because if you can go down there and show that you can play away from home in a place where historically you haven't been able to play well and put in a good performance, it'll bode well for the rest of the season. You can build confidence off of that. But I just think the matchup against Orlando, tempers usually flare. It's usually very heated. And I think El Brujo is going to get caught up in that at some point and pull an El Brujo moment. But I think they're going to play very well. The rest of the guys, I should say, besides El Brujo.
Freddie, if you couldn't tell, Zach is our resident. We call him Negadelphia. He calls himself a realist.
A little bit pessimistic. Yeah, sometimes a realist is okay. Sometimes you need one in the group to bring you back down. I mean, I could have easily said Orlando 4-0, but luckily I am that guy. I am the Zach on my side. So.
Hey, that's why we love Zach. We need Zach for that, for sure. If there was a prop bet for that, I'm gonna let you know, Zach, because I think you should go take that on.
Dude, if there's a prop bet for El Brujo getting a red card, I might put $10 down.
Zach might come up big on tomorrow. All right, Tim, give me that prediction, man.
Yeah, I mean, if Zach's the realist, I'm always the optimist, the one who gives you the score lines you want that don't ever happen. So here's what I see there. It's on my my preview article over on Philly Sports Network as well. I see this game as one of the biggest games for the Union this year, and I think if you want to stay up in the top of the East right now, if you look at the standings, it's really congested. If you lose to another team that's really close to you in the standings, it's just terrible. The Union have been playing well. They're kind of building now off of a draw, and then that win. Sergio Santos is hot. This front three, I keep talking about it, but if the front three can get it going, I think that they can score 2 goals in this match. Orlando, they're going to score. They're going to score a goal. Nani scores a goal almost every 90 minutes right now. I think it's every 120 minutes or something like that. He scores a goal in MLS this year. So he's going to get one. He's going to get one, and the Union are going to get 2. And I'm going to say, again, Gazdag gets his first. I'm going to say it every time.
Every single game.
Every single game.
That's my optimistic take.
You'll be right, Tim. Hey, the best part about it is you're going to be right at some point.
Eventually.
You're going to be right at some point.
Is that Nani goal at least contender for goal of the week?
No, it's a PK. It's a PK.
Well, it's a PK. He's gonna miss it. So
no, see, listen, Tim.
He made it last week.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it last week. You're right.
Tim, we're on the same wavelength. He's gonna score a pen because El Brujo's gonna get a red card and give up a foul. It's gonna happen. There we go.
They're still gonna win. They're gonna get 2 goals.
Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but you just got to go with what your head says sometimes,
That's fair.
Also, that takes away credit from Alex Bona, who did stop the PK, but fumbled the ball and it went in. So
that's
how that
PK went. I was so mad as someone who scoreboard watches religiously as a Union fan, who wants every other team in the East to just explode. Like to see that happen, to see him fumble the ball over the line, so mad.
That's very funny. Freddie, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on here, man. Seriously, thank you so much for hopping on. Give us the social. Where can people find you? What are you posted? Can we get you to get through some Orlando City content somehow?
Yeah. I know historically a lot of my peers are not very friendly to other fan bases, but I am not one of them. To the point where in 2020, until the COVID foiled us, there was a little bit of discussion for a third SG out there, just so they could. It's a little bit more friendly, if you will, because I know the Ireland firm and Ruckus tend to rub people the wrong way, including yours truly. So yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter and Insta. The handle is at Freddy_A89. Yes, it's very AOL screen name of me to have that handle, but I'm out there constantly posting Orlando City stuff, constantly either posting about the women's national team, men's national team, and dissing USSF. And I will say that all the thoughts that are on there are my own. And yeah, just check me out. Give me a follow. I promise I don't bite.
Sounds good, Freddie. Freddie, seriously, thanks again. And may the best team win tomorrow night, my man.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Uno más. Vamos Colombia. Freddy Alacron, ladies and gentlemen. All right, guys. Of course, as we promised you, not only will we preview Orlando, but we are also going to be previewing Inter Miami. And I'm really intrigued of talking about this matchup here because, listen, we all remember what happened last time. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, to preview, of course, there we go. To preview the Inter Miami match, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alex Windley. Oh, no. We have it.
Technical difficulties, everybody. Alrighty, let's take 2, everyone.
Did it work? We got Alex. Alex, what's going on? Alex, are you muted?
Hello?
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
There we go. Hey, what's up, Alex?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, Alex is one of the co-hosts of the Heron Outlet. It is one of the Inter Miami podcasts. She does a great job of covering Inter Miami, and we're blessed enough with her presence here to preview this match this upcoming weekend. Alex, of course, tonight we kind of saw a scoreline, so we'll wait to get to that.
Rather
in
be
a little
here
bit.
than watching that game.
It's brutal right now, honestly.
Yes. Alex, we kind of wanted to know a little bit about you, Alex. So kind of what got you into the beautiful game, what got you into Inter Miami, and what got you into the Heron Outlet there?
So yeah, I've been a fan of soccer since as long as I've been alive. I've played it in high school. I played in middle school. I played as a kid, and I've always been a big writer. So it was just a natural transition. I've always liked the game, the tactical side of it. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. I got into writing with my college paper, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Very nice. And how did the love for Inter Miami start?
Well, I'm born and raised in Miami. We haven't had an MLS team in it was before I was live. Really, they folded. Yeah, it was just it's a natural thing, hometown pride. Yeah, I'm just glad we got our MLS team back. Although they're pretty bad right now, I'm just happy we have a team.
Absolutely. Do you run into some of those Fusion fans every now and then?
Yeah, a couple of them, a couple of the old heads who were there back then. Yeah, they're part of one of the 3 supporters groups that the club has right now.
Well, that's awesome.
That is
yeah.
That is pretty cool. We do have some history here in Philadelphia, but you guys literally had an MLS club before, and I wish the Fusion never would have left, but obviously things were different back then. But that is definitely pretty cool there. So kind of what we want to find out first, Alex, we kind of saw you guys at our home opener earlier this year. We were unveiling our Supporters Shield banner. It was a great jolly night at Subaru Park. We're up 1-0, and we were still on the high for Champions League. And then the Higuain brothers just ruined our night. we got Federico getting the goal, and of course Gonzalo gets the game winner, and then we were kind of shocked, and it kind of started like a bad form in MLS, but then we snapped out of that one. But how's this been? How's this team been since that win in Chester in the beginning of the season?
Not very good, honestly. The club got a win against Cincinnati, which I think every MLS club should do, no matter what their form is. Cincinnati also isn't the best MLS club. So, but yeah, other than that, it's just been this loss after loss, maybe a couple of draws, but Neville really hasn't been able to get it going. Still, I'm watching. I have a stream on my phone right now. Still, they haven't been able to really create anything offensively. So. Yeah, it's been pretty poor. I'm not sure where the club goes. I'll be breaking it down, but it's been pretty bad. It wouldn't shock me to see, maybe Neville get the axe. I know Gabriel Heinze did, Chris Armas did. Something needs to happen, but yeah, it's not been good at all.
Alex, if I may ask, look, here in Philadelphia, the fan base would love to see kind of what you guys do, right? Get those European stars come here, pay that big money. But we kind of have found a little bit of a model. It's kind of working as of right now. No MLS Cup, but it's working. We're developing from within these kids here. What I want to ask you, this model is cool. Like, you get to see Higuain, you get to see Blase Matuidi, and whoever else you guys bring. But is this what you and the fan base would like to see from your MLS club?
No, personally, I would say I'm pretty in tune with the fan base. We just want to win. Whenever I think the loudest cheers of the season has been when one of our homegrown talents, Edison Ascona, has taken the pitch. I know a lot of people are, they're just begging for something to root for. It doesn't have to be a European star. We just want players who play hard, who play for the shirt. We've got a couple of players like that with Gregory, Robbie Robinson. Nick Marsman's in goal currently right now. He's been doing well, even though he did concede 4 goals, but I would say that's more in our back line. But as of right now, Inter Miami just need more players who want to play and less players who are here on vacation, like Matuidi, Higuain. You heard that quote about him coming to MLS, talking about the cigarette. Like, it rubbed the fan base. There's no words to describe it. It was just such a poor quote. It was so unprofessional, and it rubbed the fan base in a bad way. So right now the fans are pretty resentful that, the front office paid all this money towards Pizarro, Matuidi, Higuain, and they're not really contributing or really making a difference on the pitch.
Oh yeah, I got a word for it. It's patronizing, and
yeah,
the exact attitude that many European superstars come over here and listen. Higuain, I joke, Higuain is an embarrassment to Balds. He wasn't in, and so is Brad Guzan. So there's a whole list. I could probably create a list of Balds.
A bald 11 of disappointments.
Yeah, the embarrassing bald 11. But I mean, you have these guys that come over. I mean, Higuain was never in the best shape anyway. He comes over, and I mean, it is very clear from last year. And I was outside the stadium for his first game when they came to Chester, and we call could he do it on a rainy night in Chester? The answer was no when he skied a PK, and that kind of has been the story of his MLS career up to this point. His brother has outshone him.
Yeah.
for honestly, for the most part.
Yeah. Federico's a legend. So, yeah. I'm really glad to have him on the roster. He should get some more playing time, but yeah.
The many questions for Miami. Zach, do you guys have any questions?
Oh, well, I was just going to go off of we're talking about a club that David Beckham's a part of, and obviously he was part of that youth movement for Man United back in the day where that whole class came up and they were phenomenal and they led to numerous Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues and stuff. So I'd have to imagine that his focus on the youth side of things has to be growing to some capacity because he understands how important it is. And then also going on to the European superstar thing, I think the issue that a lot of MLS teams have with bringing over European superstars is they bring over superstars who weren't superstars in Europe. They were just names in Europe, as opposed to guys like David Villa and Ibra and Chicharito coming over. David Villa tore up David Villa scored lots of goals.
He tore up the World Cup.
Ibra, and that's the thing. David Villa was a big name in European football for a long time. Ibra, same thing, came over, scored a lot of goals. Chicharito's having a great year. He's already got 10 goals this season. I mean, Carlos Vela, a little different, struggled over in Europe, but had the name and came over and proved himself as a player who could make it in this league. Whereas Gonzalo Higuain, he had a couple seasons in Serie A where he played well. He kind of did okay at Real Madrid, but he wasn't that guy that everyone knew, bringing over David Villa, won a World Cup. This guy knows how to play and knows how to score goals and isn't that overweight, lazy-looking footballer like Higuain is. So I think that's a model that a lot of teams need to get away from, just bringing over anyone who wants to come over to the MLS, as opposed to bringing over guys who want to come play here because they want to challenge and want to still dominate a league like they did overseas.
Yeah, for sure. I think with Higuain's case, I know, South Florida is really Latino heavy, so they were plenty familiar with him for the wrong reasons, the missed penalties, basically not helping Messi at all with Argentina. Yeah. So he came with a lot of baggage down here, and the fans know that. So anytime he's not playing well, currently, I think he's getting taken off right now. There's always boos around the stadium. It's just right now, it's just such a mess. If I could write a piece on it, it'd be well over 1,000 words. It's really bad, and I think Inter Miami with this next group of DPs, eventually when we get rid of Matuidi, Pizarro, and Higuain, they should go after, like you said, younger, hungrier, maybe the right type of European type player that actually wants to come to MLS, like a Nani, David Villa, who wants to come to MLS and, play and help develop the younger talent. Because right now with Matuidi, with Higuain, even Pizarro, where there's some rumors about him potentially moving back to Mexico, it's not working. And Neville's not done the greatest job, but he's not been given, the best hand here. But I definitely agree with your point about that, about, European stars. It's not the right move, in my opinion, for Miami to do, because South Florida does have a wealth of talent, as far as the academy goes. So we'd have to wait a couple years for that to happen. But I firmly do believe that the future of this club is getting the right players in, getting the most talented academy products on the pitch.
And then Messi and Ronaldo when they're available.
Yeah.
Is he there?
Yeah, in 2030.
Yeah.
Is he there tonight? Is Messi at the match?
I think he is. I think he said he was going to be, yeah. So great
I have
showing.
to confirm,
Great showing.
yeah. One of my friends and colleagues, Austin Roblard, he's at the game. I'll text him later, see if he saw him. But, yeah, I think he's there.
That's crazy.
That's pretty funny.
And so is Paul Pogba.
Yeah, Pogba as well.
Kimpembe, I believe.
We could use him in the midfield right now.
So could a lot of places. So could a lot of teams. Him and Conte together, just totally unfair.
It's amazing.
You guys are going to go away from the European stars to get Messi and Pogba. That's not a
couple years down the line.
Yeah.
We're going to develop their homegrowns first, and then bring in Messi.
Oh, and then it'll be over.
That's a dream right there.
Yeah.
But to that point, I will say, because I do think, especially with an expansion club, there is a benefit to getting some of these European stars. Because you're a new team, and for a lot of these markets, there's either a lot of competition with the other sports, or it's something completely new, like soccer, completely new to this market. So being able to get those stars, you get the casual fans out there. You're able to kind of start building a fan base. But listen, winning cures all. It's literally the best cure for everything. And right now, Miami, I understand where Miami fans come from. It's a little bit frustrating. After when you guys beat us in Chester earlier this year, I thought you guys were going to be on your way, maybe sneak into the playoffs later on in the season, but it's definitely been tough. So, Alex, what happened tonight? Is it just one of those matches where, one goal, the momentum is just completely gone, or something that's been building up?
Well, our back line right now, it's a bit patchwork. We had 4 center backs starting along the back 4. Christian McCoon, who's naturally a DM center back, he was at left back. We have Nico Figal, who's naturally a center back, playing at right back, and we have Shawcross playing with Leandro Gonzalez-Perez, which they're not the fastest pairing, so it's a bit harsh. Yeah, it's harsh. On our new goalkeeper, Nick Marsman, who's done a great job, even though, like I said, he let up 4 goals. He's saved a couple of them, which could have made the scoreline worse. So our back line has been poor. Our midfield, there's no true ball carrier. There's no ball retention. Matuidi is statistically past it. He's not very good anymore. I don't know why the front office signed him. I wish we had Gregory. He's suspended with yellow cards, but right now it's just such a mess. Like, I'm repeating the same points because it's a broken clock. I don't know what Neville's going to do. Maybe he gets sacked, but it's just been poor all around. It's just really poor.
That's what we tell people. Listen, welcome to the club of being terrible. You're supposed to suck for a few years. Not everyone. Atlanta is finding this out now. You're not supposed to be good to start out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is 100% true here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm assuming the match is about to end soon there in Fort Lauderdale there. But what could this lineup potentially look like on a turnover on Sunday against the Union?
Well, I think Higuain, the bigger Higuain, Gonzalo, he just came off with a slight injury. I don't know what quite happened, but I'll check in that later. So depending on how severe that is, he may just not start. Julian Carranza may start up there. Pizarro, I believe he'll be with the Mexican national team, so you guys will not be seeing him. So yeah, it'll be a couple of changes. Kieran Gibbs will probably start at left back. Calvin Leardom will be back from the Gold Cup with Suriname, so he'll be starting at right back. And a couple of changes, but I think it'll be largely the same lineup with Robinson on the left, Morgan on the right. Like I said, Carranza maybe up top as a 10, maybe Jay Chapman, maybe Federico Higuain, and yes, Matuidi and Gregory. That's a double pivot. Yeah, I want Neville to drop Matuidi so bad, but yeah, that's probably what you guys are going to see against the Union. That's starting 11.
Oof, man, that's going to be tough. So I'll ask you here on this one, Tim. What do you see this lineup for the Union this Sunday? Obviously, what we kind of know now about Miami. We're going to play Orlando tomorrow. What could you see us lining up in on Sunday?
Yeah, I kind of talked about it when we were just previewing the Orlando match. I think the Union should put all of their emphasis against Orlando because it is a top team in the East, and you need to beat those teams if you want to stay at the top. No offense to Miami right now. I know they did beat us earlier in the year, but they're in last place in the East. So I think you can maybe see a little bit more rotation then if you run guys a little bit longer than maybe you would like to against Orlando. So I think, whatever happens with El Brujo, whether he gets a red card in Orlando or he plays 90 minutes in his shot, you would see Leon Flock starting at the 6 against Miami, and I think that's a very solid option. Zach knows how good
Zach
he's been.
Would like that.
I would like that too, to be honest. But yeah, I think you could see, honestly, a few changes. The Union don't have many strikers, but I could see them maybe playing a homegrown up top, maybe Quinn Sullivan or, maybe Paxton Aronson. We haven't seen him, maybe we could see that happen. Honestly, this Miami match is totally up in the air for me. I think it really will be determined after the Union play Orlando. If a lot of players play close to 90 minutes in that heat in Orlando, and then they stay in Florida to play Miami, then you'll probably see some roster rotation. Maybe not on the back line. That's what Jim doesn't like to do. So that's pretty much it for me. I think it'll really depend on the Orlando match, but I would not be surprised to see a bunch of changes, sort of like how Jim rotated the roster when they went to Chicago.
Justin, homegrowns on Sunday? Can we possibly see that?
I mean, depending on the Orlando match, like Tim said, yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think of the two Florida games, I think Miami is definitely the more winnable. So I think Jim might decide to experiment a little. I think, as I said, the lineup for the Orlando game would probably be Leon out for Jamiro. I think the inverse is true for the Miami game, and then I think maybe you move Gazdag up as a striker. Maybe you have Jack McGuinn in or Quinn Sullivan. Maybe even a Paxton Aronson sighting. He has been on the bench. We don't know. We also do know that, according to Jim's presser, that Elsinho will be traveling with the team, so there could be an Elsinho sighting, which I'm sure if you throw him on for 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes against Miami, yeah, he'll do what he does and show some of the young heads how to do a nice step over or two. I think really, based on the result in Orlando, I think you're gonna have a lot of change. Probably not much on the back line. Maybe you rest either Glasnes or Elliott, and you put Finlay in there. I don't know whether I don't think Kai or Olivier get rested. Just because at this point they seem to be machines. I mean, you could put in Riel or Harriel, but I don't see that kind of rotation. The rotation is going to come in the midfield and up top. And like I said, I think maybe you move Gazdag as a second striker next to Casper. Maybe bring Sergio on as a sub. But I definitely think the Miami game was going to lend Jim to a lot of roster experimentation.
All righty. All right, guys. It's that time. Let's get to some predictions. And, of course, we always let our guests go first here. So, Alex, do we get any sort of positivity in this prediction?
No. The way Miami's playing, I don't. No, not honestly. I don't see them winning right now. It's a mess. Philly, the Union are a really good side. I've watched them a couple of times when Inter Miami is not playing, so I fully expect the Union to win this game. No surprises. I don't think Inter Miami will really hurt them at all. Maybe off a set piece, but I think the Union they're comfortable. They're gonna win this game comfortably.
Okay, all right.
Do you want me to give like a number? Like I'll say 3-0 Union. 3-0 Union.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
You stole my prediction.
I'm sorry.
Real quick. I want to give props to Alex for giving predictions on a game that's happening this weekend while her team is getting scored on again.
Yeah.
You just conceded a fifth one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's crazy.
What do you got this weekend, Tim? What do you see Sunday happening?
To be honest, I really hadn't looked much at Miami this season except for the one time where they beat us. So I kind of assumed wrongly that they weren't up in the playoffs, but I assumed that they were kind of almost there, and they're very much not now that I'm looking at their stats.
No, they're battling Cincy for the wooden spoon.
Yeah, it's bad. And like Alex pointed out, there's all of these major issues that they're having, and Gonzalo Higuain possibly being injured. I mean, he's scored 5 goals, and no one else has really come close to that, which, I mean, tells you the whole story there. So, yeah, I see the Union winning comfortably. If I had to put a score on it, I think it would be 2-0, just because Union coming off of what I think will be a tough game in Orlando that they're going to win. I still think they're going to win in Orlando, guys. So, yeah.
Please beat Orlando, at least.
I hope. But, yeah, I think the Union win 2-0 on a night that will maybe look a little bit different from what we're used to seeing.
Zach, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm also going 3-0. And I think that depending on the Orlando matchup, of course, and how the game goes, I think we could even see some formation change and have Jim try out maybe like a little 4-3-3, maybe, stick maybe like Sergio at left wing and Paxton at right wing, and then I don't know, Gazdag is like maybe a false 9 striker. Dude, I'm just spitballing here. This is what I would do if if I had the opportunity and we beat Orlando and we're just like, you know what, let's have some fun and try some things out to see what maybe has to happen in the next couple of years if this diamond starts to dwindle a little bit. I mean, you might as well try some new formations against a team that's playing as poorly as Miami is, because even by the off chance that the changes don't work and you're like drawn with them at halftime and it's a close match, you just switch back, right? You just switch back and then you just go win the game in the second half. So I really hope that that's the case, that Jim tries out some new a new formation against Miami, because I think it's definitely the game to do so, unless Cincy comes along again, or maybe Chicago. But then we can talk about that then too.
Zach, honestly, you brought up something that I've always thought about. I've always envisioned like with you playing a 4-3-3.
Dude, I would love it. Maybe Ilsinho on the right. He'll just come in. Oh, it would be fantastic. Just doing elasticos through people's legs on the right side. Come on.
Zach got us all fired up. Justin, what do you got, man?
I wasn't sure before the Miami game what the scoreline was going to be, and then I saw them just start to get railroaded hard by a squad in New England that does not put up a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So that says something. I think they do at least score a goal. I think it's a 3-1 game. I am gonna go with to top Tim's initial prediction with the Orlando game. I think Gaza gets a brace. As the second striker.
I forgot to say that one of the goals from the Union in this match will be Gaza. Potentially be his first. It could be his first. Sorry, Justin.
I think it's a brace, and then you get a substitution goal from Paxton Aronson.
Oh,
I'm going even ballsier here. From an assist from Elsinho.
Man.
Wow.
From Elsinho, I think.
Wow. And I forgot to mention that if El Brujo does not get a red card against Orlando, he will get a red card against Miami.
You're just gonna keep guessing. He's gonna.
Tim and I are on the same wave, just on two opposite sides.
Awesome stuff. Alex, listen, we really want to thank you for coming on. We know it's a rough night in Miami Nation. But seriously, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you, your work, the podcast? Let us know where we can find everything for you.
Right. So you can find me on Twitter at AAW_1998 and at the Heron Outlet on Twitter as well, at the Heron Outlet. I cover in Miami for Lemon City Live, Fansided, and World Football Index. I also want to give a shout out to Alejandro Bedoya. He's a South Florida native. He was born in New Jersey, but he was raised down here. So, yeah, I'm a big fan, and I want to give him a shout out. But, yeah, that's where you can find me on Twitter at the Heron Outlet and at AAW 1998.
Alex, that was love.
Yeah.
I love that. And also, too, guys, not only Alex, but Freddy, who we had on earlier, we will put all those handles in the descriptions, and wherever you stream podcasts will be on the descriptions as well. So you guys can go find their work. Anytime you're like curious, what's Miami up to? Did they fire Neville? Well, you can go check out Alex's work. Quite randomly there. Probably. So Alex, seriously, thank you so much for coming on in here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning on in. This is another episode of DOOP by the River. Do not forget to like the live and subscribe to subscribe to the Ed Barcelona Phillies YouTube channel. This is where we put all the live portions of the podcast. And, of course, you can stream us wherever you stream podcasts as well, from Apple, Google, and Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Alex Windley. That is Justin, Chief Balding Officer Freiberg. We got Zachary Lavasso. And, of course, we got Tim Mummagoot. I go by the name of Ed Barcelona Philly. We're telling you guys to DOOP on, and we'll talk to you guys next week.